It's 12 p.m. in Los Angeles on Sunday, the 6th of May, 2012. It's 9 p.m. Near Vienna, Austria, where I'm about to speak with Klaus Sambor, who's the coordinator of the Attac group for Basic Income Guarantee. I'm Mark Strassman, reporter with Utopia News. Welcome, Mr. Sambor, to Utopia News.
Hello, welcome.
Tell us what the Attac group is and what it's trying to get.
Yes, we have started to think about this topic many years ago already. And if I go back with a short history, it was 2005, where we had a big conference in Vienna to this topic, unconditional basic income, organized by many other networks of Europe and other Attac groups and other organizations. And after that was a second conference, which we had held in 2007 in Basel, and afterwards 2008 in Berlin. And in all these conferences, we have discussed all advantages and disadvantages and pros and cons of the unconditional basic income. And after that point in time, we had discussed in our group and also the network groups from other countries that we should go on with any new idea how to be able to come in the political discussions, not only in the discussions between ourselves and people which are thinking about this topic. And so it was agreed that we should summarize the results of these three conferences in an experts group, and we had 2009 made such an expert group about 7 countries in Aachen and Herzogenrath, and there we have that it can be possible that it has some meaning to make a resolution to our EU Commission. And the main topic of this resolution was more or less, we asked them to think about the possibility to introduce unconditional basic income in Europe, at least to check it if this could be a good idea for a new social policy in Europe.
Okay, could you slide your camera down a little bit more so we can see more of you?
Yes, I will try it. So, it's better so?
Yes, it's better. Yes, much better. Good. Thank you. Okay, good. So, tell us how a universal unconditional basic income program would work.
Yes, there was the following, that we have the idea that we had at least 4 criteria which are essential that we could call such an idea unconditional basic income. And these 4 criteria were said it must be personalized, it must be universal, it must be high enough to guarantee life in dignity for everybody. And these criteria were agreed more or less in all the discussions between the people which want to have such an unconditional basic income. So I repeat these 4 criteria: universal, individual, unconditional basic income to ensure a life in dignity and participation in society.
Do you have some estimate of how much this would cost to do across Europe?
We had made studies in different countries. For example, for Austria, we had made a financial model where we have calculated how much it would cost. So we have to make assumptions because in each country the criteria high enough is different, because the currency value in all the countries are different to the if you call it Warenkorb or or I don't know, the English term would perhaps be, I look to a right term. We could say a basket of goods, and so such a basket of goods is expensive in the countries. So we can only make country by country such a financial discussion. And what we have also said is that there are quite different possibilities to finance such an unconditional basic interface, basic income. And so for Austria, I can tell how we have done it.
Right.
In Austria.
Right. Say how for Austria.
Yes. In Austria, we have said we want to have 1,000 euro per month. And in Austria, it is not 12 months per year. We have 14 months per year. This seems to be ridiculous, but we get a 13th and a 14th monthly income in the middle of the year and the end of the year, so that it in total are 14 times.
Okay, and where would the money come from?
And times.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, yes. The money would come from income of the people and from the different incomes for capital also. That means not only from work, but also from capital. All these possibilities to get money for the government will be taken together, and also the money which is collected by each people who works, which he gives in his insurance, and all this together will be in one pocket, and then it would look how much we have to ask for these in order to be able to finance what we need. For that, we need a change of our taxes system, so that all which have a little income have also not to pay much, but if they have a high income, they have to pay much more than today. So that we get a differentiation in high of the percentage which they have to pay, so that the more rich people have to pay more, so that the poor people can get also more by this, we call it Sozialdividende. Yes, everybody get this 1,000 euro. That means really everybody. If he is poor or rich, this is independent. Everybody get it because he is a human being, and therefore he has a right to get such to be able to live in a situation in the system which we are now, where you need money to live.
What's been the general reaction to your proposal by the public?
The public is always partly pro and partly contra. So that the most big problem is to inform the people that, for example, in our calculation, 80% of all peoples, for example in Austria, would have an advantage if this unconditional basic income would be introduced. The 20% of the more rich people would have a little slower income as today, but that would not be a problem for them because they have enough. So in this case, we have only to inform all peoples, and if there would be a democratic voting, then 80% with advantage should get easily at least 50% that we came through in a democratic way.
Is there any worry that having this guaranteed income would reduce people's incentive to work?
That is one point which is always brought as a contra. But we have made some studies, and it is the following way. If you ask somebody if he would work further on, if he get an unconditional basic income, he said, I give the result of the study. About 60% says, yes, I would work because the unconditional basic income would not enough for me because my standard of life would be higher and they want to have more money, and therefore I would go on with my work, and because my work, I like my work, and so on. And third says, yes, I would work further on, but perhaps not so many hours as today. And 10% has answered, I will think about it. But if we ask the same people, what do you think will do the other people, then 90% of these people say they would not work anymore.
Right.
So that is a very...
Right, so people would really would work more, but they think that others wouldn't work so much.
Exactly. And therefore, we think it is not so a danger that we would not have enough people to work.
Okay. How does this proposal relate to the current financial and economic problems that Europe is having right now?
Yes, that is a very important question, because in our opinion, exactly now, because we have this crisis and these problems, exactly now we need the unconditional basic income. As soon as, because if we would not have a crisis, it would not be important. But now we need it, that all people can live in dignity in our Europe and all over the world is certainly our wish. But at the moment, in our considerations, we are thinking about such an European citizen initiative, and therefore we are thinking about Europe. But certainly, we think that in the whole world, that unconditional basic income should be introduced.
Okay. When did you decide to launch an ECI, a European Citizens Initiative, to do this?
Yes, we have already started to come to a common text, and this was achieved on 26 to 27 of April. We had a meeting in Brussels, and there we have taken all the proposals available and have agreed to a common text. And that was the first important aim from that meeting. And the second point was that in an European citizen initiative, we need a citizen committee, at least from 7 countries. In this way, we had already 14 countries which have agreed to be in such a citizen committee, and so we have this second aim also achieved in the meeting. Now the next important question is, if we bring this text to the European Commission, then the problem is, if they would accept our European Citizen Initiative and register this as a proposal which could start or not. And that is exactly the problem, because on the one hand, it is said European Citizen Initiative should be made if the treaties, the European treaties, would be transferred in a better direction, but it should not be possible to make an ECI, a European Citizen Initiative, to change the European treaties.
Right.
And so we have a difficult situation. In our opinion, in the preamble and in some paragraphs and so on of the European citizen, in the European treaty, we find it covered that we can ask for such an unconditional basic income. But on the other hand, somebody can say, oh, European Commission is not responsible for the social things, that is the responsibility of member states. So this problem is an open problem, and we hope very much that the EU Commission would accept our European Citizen Initiative.
When will you know that?
The problem is we have a certain date at what point in time we want to, and this is 14th of September 2012, and that is exactly the first day from a worldwide basic income Earth Network conference, this time in Europe, in Munich, where we want to start and say, because there we have a big public awareness, to say, for Europe we want to start now with this European Citizen Initiative, that we should introduce the unconditional basic income in Europe. But there we have a problem, because if we ask for a registration, then the European Commission has time to react in between 2 months. So we don't know at what point in time they want to answer our request, and if it is possible to start with a date which we think we want to start. Because then we have only 12 months time to collect 1 million signatures, and that should be this date. And this question is open.
Okay. How will you collect the signatures?
There are 2 possibilities. The European Commission has offered online collection system free of charge for all these European citizens' initiatives, and that is certainly a very nice thing. And so we want to use this online collection system, and a computer will be installed in this case in Italy, where all 27 member states could give his signatures, and they would collect it before giving the whole things after validation by the member states of the signatures in one step to the EU Commission via this EU collection system.
How much media coverage have you gotten so far?
Yes, that is, as I said, is one way that we look to have this on the internet, that we get these dates over the internet, over a web server, and then give it to the EU Commission as a result of our attempt to achieve the 1 million. But it is also possible to make on paper the signatures by people which don't have an internet. And then somebody has to take this paper and to insert these in the system which I have just mentioned, so that everything will be, after all these collections, online.
Okay. Now, how much media coverage have you gotten so far for your efforts?
That is, at the moment, not quite sure. We have said that we want to have a next meeting in July in Paris, where the Citizen Committee will consider all these necessities for an unconditional basic income campaign. And there we will think about what we have possibilities about media to use, which kind of groups we should ask to go with us. For example, we think about unions or religion groups or any kind of citizens which are in favor of this idea.
Okay. And how much money do you think the campaign will cost?
We have said we want to make no business plan, because we all of us are only working volunteering without money. We pay everything private from ourselves. If it is possible to get any sponsoring, then certainly we would be happy. But we want not to be forced to have a sponsoring. We want to do it by ourselves.
Okay. If your proposal succeeds in getting the number of signatures it needs, and the European Commission forwards it to the European Parliament according to the procedures, how much support do you think your proposal will have in the European Parliament?
Yes, there we are quite sure that we get very much support. That is the following reason behind. At the moment, if we really start in September 2012, then 1 year later, September 2013, we think that the crisis is even much more worse as today. And so everybody in the EU Parliament must be really, really happy to get a solution proposed from the city that how we can go on with our concept of Europe, that it is really solidarity given in Europe for poor people, and that everybody can live, and not only the accumulated capital in the 1 or 2% of people.
Now, are you doing this campaign because you think you'll really be able to get it successfully implemented, or to raise awareness of the issue and hope maybe individual countries will implement the unconditional basic income?
This question is differently to answer by everybody who is with us. Somebody of the opinion, and I myself am of the opinion, that it must be possible to come to a solution to a more social Europe. That if you would ask at the moment every citizens of Europe, 80% are not satisfied with the way of politics now. Everybody wants to make a system with much more solidarity between all citizens. So I think it would be a possible solution. But certainly, other people think that is too optimistic. It is perhaps enough if we have much discussions about this topic, and it is more or less agenda setting for the social Europe, but not already a solution. So we will see. I am always an optimist, and so I hope that we come through and get much more solutions in directions to avoid the difference between poor and rich peoples.
Okay, finally at the end here, tell us why an unconditional basic income is a good idea.
That is, in our opinion, because it is much better as all social systems which we have today in Europe. All of them are dealing with asking people if they really need it, and checking and controlling and so on. And we have much efforts for all these systems. For example, in Germany it's called Hartz IV. In Austria it's called bedarfsorientierte Mindestsicherung. All these systems have many disadvantages, and in the last 5 years all European countries have a worse social system as before. So in our opinion, we have to have another system where everybody get it if he is alive until he is dead, without any social bureaucracy, the right to get so much money that he can live.
Okay, tell us.
And certainly.
Go ahead.
Yes?
No, go continue.
Yes, and sir, we are of the opinion, if this is given personally to each person, then everybody can have a much better life in such a way that he has a perspective not to be have to be afraid to get no work, or to be unemployed, or anything of these kind of things which would have an influence on his existence. That could be a life without any fear of the future.
Okay, tell us, do you have a website and how people can reach you to get more information or to help out?
Yes, at the moment we have in different countries different websites. We want to combine this website then if the campaign is starting on one single website. But at the moment, if anybody has any questions, then we have a website for us. For example, www pro and slash Grundeinkommen .at for Austria. That is one of the websites where you can find all informations which we have in Austria, but certainly you can also go to the website www, full stop, Grundeinkommen, full stop, DE for Germany.
Okay.
That you find many other information too.
And they can also Google your name or unconditional basic income and get the information?
I think so.
Okay, good.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much for talking to us today on Utopia News.
Thank you very much for your speech with me. Thank you very much.
You're
Goodbye.
welcome. Bye.